Oh, we're live. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the Awakening Summit. I believe this is our first interview, so I'm incredibly excited to be kicking this off with you all. My name is Tarsh, Ashwin, and today I am interviewing Krystal Alexander-Hille. So Krystal Alexander-Hille is a soul leadership coach. She's an international tantra teacher and a best-selling author. And she guides conscious leaders, business people, and light workers to embody their soul essence, to claim their life force and realize their vision so that they can birth the next version of their multidimensional self. And so she does this by helping them to raise their frequency, create more meaningful connections, deeper intimacy, greater financial abundance from a place of embodied sovereignty, joy, and grace. Beautiful. Lovely to have you here, Krystal. Hello.
Thank you so much, Tarsh. It's lovely to be here and yes, to be kicking off this summit with you all. So very excited for our conversation.
Absolutely. Me too. Yeah. Bear with me one moment. I'm just going to pull up the video on my phone so that I can see any questions that come in. Alrighty. There we go. I've got questions on this side. We really want, as you're watching this with us, everyone, if you have any questions along the way, you're so welcome to pop them into the comments. I got two screens going here so I can go between. If you're joining us live, hashtag live. If you're joining us for the replay, please pop in hashtag replay so we can keep the interview rating high in the group. So let's kick this off. Krystal, would you like to tell us a little bit about the work that you do? I know I just read out your bio, but I'd love to hear from you personally.
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with conscious leaders, and the first thing I really actually wanted to just kick in straight away and then maybe talk a little bit later about the offer is, what is a conscious leader? We all have our ideas about that. And what is a conscious leader, and why is it so important at this time in history to really embody that? So I'd love to hear your thoughts, your comments, because the more you engage, the more active you are in the process and the more you'll get from this conversation. So what is a conscious leader to you? You know, I believe we're coming into an era where we're going beyond right and wrong. There's no more just one answer. That was the old paradigm of patriarchy, where it had to be a certain way and that was the only way. But now we're coming into a time where there's diversity, and the diversity is celebrated and the diversity is accepted. We're coming into a time where the community becomes more and more important. Collective leadership is becoming more and more important. Like, you know, with our relationship, there's a give and take as to who is leading at what times. And so I feel like we're going beyond this need to be just have one hat on or be perceived in just one way, because even as conscious leaders, we need that downtime. We have things in our lives that we can improve and forever will be improving. And I'm doing this because in my understanding and my experience, every time we up level our consciousness, our core wounding gets reactivated. We have to dissolve it at that next level of our soul evolution into higher ascension. And whilst it becomes faster and faster, it is still always there. And so we need a community around us that can support us as we do that, or just one person that can be that space holder for us as we do that.
Yeah.
I wanna read something from my chapter.
Yes, please.
Because in the chapter I'm talking about returning to the temple, returning into a temple life. And there's a quote from Carolyn Mace that I quoted, and she says, "In order to live a life of meaning, we must go beyond a life of acquisition and move into a life of devotion." And so then I'm commenting, or I'm sharing, that everything in our lives, when everything in our lives is done with reverence, from a deeply conscious state of connection to the divine and ourselves, then we're in flow, in gratitude, and in deep connection to the highest vibrational state of our being. And from that place, life is truly blissful and deeply peaceful. It is also from that place that we can create synchronicities and become an instant manifester of our reality. So this is a place that I feel like we're striving to move into. And yeah, it's a journey, isn't it? Because we're really at a place in history where we're moving from patriarchy into unity consciousness. Some call it from the 3D into the 5D. I also relate it to the chakras, because we've been in the patriarchy is the power struggles in the solar plexus. As humanity, we've been maturing our solar plexus chakra by playing out all of these things, by playing out separation, competition, comparison, all of that disempowered stuff. And now, as we're shifting into our heart, it is a letting go of all of those things when we're coming into greater connection, greater harmony, greater community, greater love.
Absolutely. And I love that analogy that you shared about, using the chakra system to really understand what's happening at the moment. Can you talk a little bit more about this concept of conscious leadership as devotion?
I love that question. Yes. So conscious leadership as devotion means that everything that we do in our lives becomes an act of devotion, becomes an act that is done consciously with conscious awareness. Because most of humanity, most of the population, they are on autopilot. And I catch myself when I'm on autopilot, especially if we're going to the same job, driving the same route in the morning, making the same breakfast, or whatever it may be. There comes a routine where our neural pathways are so used to what we're doing that we forget to be consciously aware of it and present to it. And so as a conscious leader, be that in like a conscious leader of our own lives or a conscious leader of a community, to come back into a life of devotion means to come back into the present moment. And when I do that, and I've recently been really questioning that and tapping into that, how can I create more spaciousness in my day when I have appointments, when there is a to-do list? Because the old way for me certainly was to just work as fast as I could, as hard as I could to get it all done. And then that was the pattern, but there was no spaciousness. And now, and this is another really interesting thing, I've been asked to, sometimes we all make gradual progress in our evolution, in our journey, chipping away at things, chipping away at our patterns, chipping away at our triggers. But sometimes it requires a radical change. Sometimes we've put a marker at a certain point in our journey from a soul perspective to say, okay, at this stage you need to wake up fully unless you already are. And so if we're not already, then the universe will give us an event that can be quite traumatic or extreme to speed up that process of soul evolution. And that is something that's just happened to me. I've been chipping away, I've been doing everything, and then suddenly I've just left a co-parenting scenario, moved into my own space, and I was diagnosed with something that really made me sit back and look at my life and how I've been leading it and where my energy was. In traditional medicine, this would require surgery, but I know that if I create something, I can uncreate it. And if we make enough changes, enough radical changes in our lives, i.e. moving out of autopilot into a devotional life, then it's possible. Then this is absolutely possible. And we don't all need the brick hammer, but it's an important question to ask. How much conscious awareness do we have in life at any one time? And that was me leading back into the spaciousness. What I got when I really sat with that question is that when we come from the heart, we do everything from that place of love and connection and presence, we can stretch time, and then suddenly there's no more rush.
I've experienced that, definitely. When you're on holiday, it seems like time is so slow. And then when you're very busy, time speeds up.
I've had a massage the other day, and with a friend, and we used to have to do it in a certain amount of time. And so there was the energy of time pressure. We have to get this done. And then the other day we were able to do it we had unlimited time. So the massage itself felt more spacious But actually, when we looked at the time afterwards, it was exactly the same amount of time. And that I thought was just amazing. And such a powerful connector or reminder of time is subjective.
And when I hear you talk about conscious leadership as devotion, I'm present to this, I guess, the feeling that when we're in our heads and trying to be a conscious leader, that's not really devotion, is it? It's when we come into the body.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. So when we're in our head, there is that busyness, there is the planning, there's the comparing to the past, projecting into the future. But a conscious leader is present in the now, which means that we need to be embodied. It's about bringing our conscious awareness from the soul all the way down into our heart, all the way down into our womb or that sacral chakra, creative energy center, so that we can be here. And I know, again, on autopilot, we're not here. We are either completely checked out or in our head, exactly, thinking about what we've said to who and all of that. But when there is that total alignment to coming into the body, that's when we can manifest. Because the manifestation really happens from our creative center, our sexual sacral chakra energy center. And if that is blocked or if we're numb here, we are not creating the way we could. Because that energy is our life force. And as we're expanding our life force into our aura, into our energy field, we become more magnetic. And from that place, we can therefore then also attract a lot more things.
So how do you work with your clients in this area when it comes to embodiment, so they can step more fully into their conscious leadership, be it in business, in their personal lives, in their families? How do you support your clients to do that?
So there are 3 tantric principles that are breath, sound, and movement. And so sometimes I take my clients through just even just putting the hand on the heart and the hand on the belly or the sacral chakra, and just gently closing the eyes and moving around. That brings us straight into the body, and just breathing into, using the breath to not just unconsciously breathe, but consciously directing the breath into the sacral chakra. Or even consciously directing the breath all the way down to the feet, even though physically that's not possible, with the intention of breathing into the feet and then opening up into the earth, imagining we're growing roots into the earth. And immediately, if you're doing this right now, you can feel it's like, there's a kind of dropping in, a kind of a presence of the physical body, but also energy. Like if I imagine, very often I work with the light a lot, bringing the cosmic light all the way down through the body into the feet, and just amplifying it from there, because where attention goes, energy flows. And if we bring that attention to the subtle life force energy in our body, that can expand simply by us bringing our awareness to it.
And so sometimes I'm sure you'd experience that, people leave the body and come up to the head for a reason, often because coming into the body, there's painful things to experience there, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you see this much in your work with your clients? And if so, how do you help them to be able to feel safe coming into their body so they can be, really embody their soul as a conscious leader?
Yeah, of course, there's always things that we need to let go of. And when we go, like in the way that I work with the body, is that we look at an intention that we want to achieve. For example, everything is about unity, right? We want to be in unison with ourselves. So we want to come into harmony. So any of the disjointed aspects of self want to come back together and be loved. So I was working with a Hollywood lawyer, and her masculine and feminine were complete. She was either in one or in the other. And so we wanted to bring them together so they could coexist in a healthy relationship. And I took her into her body, just sort of scanning her body and saying, okay, where does your masculine live? And where does your feminine live? And really get a sensed experience of what they each felt like, and then got them to talk to one another. You know, what did they have to say to each other? Were they enemies? Were they friends? Were they in competition? And that then would go into events from the past, either as a child, or it would take us into a past life. Wherever that disconnection has happened in the first place, yes, we do have to revisit that. Yes, we do have to flush that out to get the awareness of the highest intention. Why in the infinite wisdom of my soul, why would my soul have chosen this traumatic event, this experience? What is the gift? What is the message, the lesson? And then once we remember that lesson, reconnect it within our physical human experience in this lifetime, then we can let go of the trauma and we can create a new timeline that will now serve us moving forward. Because we're that powerful, we can shift reality. Doesn't mean that we're denying that it had happened, but what we're doing is we're releasing the attachment to that pain, to that trauma.
Very powerful. And I wanted to ask you, and it kind of flows on from that topic, but what, as a conscious leader, what do we need to let go of in order to really become empowered in our field and in what it is that we're doing as devotion? Absolutely. It does lead on from that. It is all those internal separations where we are not yet united. It is all that conditioning that we've inherited, not just from this lifetime, but from our ancestors and from past lives that we've been chipping away. So comparison, competition, doubting our inner guidance, feeling separate to, feeling less than, feeling not good enough, or all of those doubts that come from not being fully connected to ourselves, because we have been conditioned to fit into a box, and we've been conditioned by exams and all of that to live up to certain standards. So that all needs to go. Massive. It's massive work. Yeah. And like you said, every time we up level, it's like the next layer of that, isn't it? That's right. Yeah. So we want to just get in there, do that work, do that inner, like, some people call it shadow work, so that we can bring in more light and really be totally connected to our soul blueprint, if you want, soul essence. Yeah, I think that's so powerful, especially if we're doing it as a conscious leader, if we really feel like it's our soul work, this is what we're here to do. Yeah. This is why we're here on the planet. How do we then take that to the next level so we are truly embodying the soul, our soul? And I feel some people get into a loop by constantly focusing on what they have to work on, what they have to let go of, where's the next problem to fix, what's the next thing to integrate, that we focus our attention so much on the less than and the not good enough yet, that we don't honor enough of where we've come, how far we've come, where we are right now, and what we want to create, what we want to embody, who we truly are, because we're multidimensional beings. So that highest version of ourselves already exists, and all we need to do is tap into that. And so what we need to do in order to fully come into that conscious leader, our fullness, our full expression of who we are, is to focus on that. Yeah. Connecting in with our hearts and connecting in with our soul and spending time with self. So that we can then courageously listen to the whispers of our soul and not push them aside. So that when we get an impulse of doing something that is beyond our present state perception of who we are, like somebody might say, okay, I have a client and she says, I see myself on a stage in front of 1,000 people. But there is a complete disconnect between that vision and her current perception of herself. She can't see the bridge. And so this is another thing that I assist my clients with doing, creating that bridge, really focusing on all of those things. What do we need to filter in? What do we need to call in? What do we need to visualize and embody so that it can become a reality? Absolutely spot on. I love it. And so I have one more question, and that's, what do you believe we need to, as conscious leaders, what do we need to activate within ourselves to fully step into that magnetic, full power leader that we innately are? What do we need to activate?
So we need to activate, we need to embrace our wholeness. We need to activate by our womb energy, our heart energy, our connection to the divine, our connection to the earth, activating, becoming a pillar of light. It's almost like we're activating so that we know that by being conscious in each moment, our footprints is like we're leaving energetic footprints everywhere we go. We're a beaming lighthouse. We're constantly vibrating our energy out every nanosecond, and the universe responds. So we do need to activate. Yeah, in order to become magnetic, we need to be embodied in our body, calling that soul in, feeling like that pillar of light at all times, connected to above and below.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, I believe you had a process that you'd like to take us through.
I will. Do you quickly want to check any messages?
Yes, we have comments. We'll catch the replay off to bed. And then we've got Adriana, Jackster, people agreeing. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Love the idea of energetic footprints. I love the idea of energetic footprints too. Beautiful.
All right, let's go into a brief guided journey. It's literally going to be very brief. So I invite you to close your eyes. And I'm just going to give you that felt experience of being that pillar of light. So just bringing your awareness to your breath, deepening and lengthening the breathing, and imagining that you're breathing all the way down into your feet, sending the energy down there, and imagining that you're opening the soles of your feet and shooting your energetic roots all the way down into the earth. And check how vast, how wide, how deep your root system is going, because that is an indication of how embodied you already are. If it's just a few roots, then that's just something to witness. There's nothing to change, nothing to fix. We're just being present and aware. Or is it a massive root work that goes all the way across the earth? And whatever it is, just breathing in that nourishing, nurturing energy of the earth. All the way up your feet, into your legs, filling your base chakra. Taking another deep breath in so it can come up into your sacral chakra, filling your belly. And if you're feeling yourself wanting to move like a tree in the wind, just moving some energy through the body, you're welcome to do that. Breathing that energy up into your power center, your solar plexus. Up into your heart, expanding that unconditional love within your heart. As the earth is holding you, nourishing you, loving you unconditionally. Moving it up into your throat chakra. So that you can speak your truth from a place of centeredness. Up into your third eye and then out through your crown. Recycling it through the cosmos back into the earth. And just for now then feeling that energy just coming up into your heart. So earth energy all the way into the heart. And just allowing it like a fountain to overflow back down. And notice how just that little exercise, that little visualization, working with your breath and your body is shifting your awareness of yourself. And now we're going to bring in the cosmic light. Now we're going to connect through your crown chakra at the top of your head to the divine, to source energy, to your higher self, God, whatever you call it, just breathing that in from the top like a shower of light, letting it trickle down through your head, your third eye, your neck, throat, into your heart, where it now meets the earth energy, alchemizing it, and then down all the way into the earth. And just be in that energy for a little bit, visualizing both energies from above and below coming into your body, meeting inside of your heart. And then even expanding out into your energy field, mingling with your essence, with your soul essence, with the love inside of your heart. And breathing that out into the universe so that you can become more magnetic, more expanded in your energy field. And therefore call in more of the people that are in resonance with that true essence, not with the essence of your personality and your patterns, but your truth. So taking just another deep breath here. And then bringing your awareness back to the room that you're in, coming back into our space. And if you like, you can just put down a few comments as to how are you feeling now? What has shifted within your body from before to after? I'm curious to hear of your experience.
I tell you, I felt like my spine was elongating, like I was starting to really activate and lengthen in that energetic channel. I really even felt myself, climbing up to the sky. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so powerful. And just you all of your work. I've worked with Krystal quite a lot. I can really be a testament to how powerful this work is. And the body really is the vessel for our magnetism and for our brilliance. And I love how you're such a champion of that, of really bringing in that galactic energy and centering it with the tantric earth energy. And from there, we are so powerful. So powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Krystal, what's the next step? If people have loved your process, the people that really resonate with your work, they'd love to know more about how to use tantric and galactic awareness to activate their conscious leadership. What's the next step for them to take?
So the next step, there's two steps you can take. One is if you want to have a larger, longer experience of a journey that I take you through, you can go to my website, and it's KrystalAlexander-Hille.com. So just my name as it is there without the hyphen. And there's an activation journey that you can go on, which takes you a lot deeper into a more felt experience of actually incorporating the body a lot more. So instead of 5 minutes, you have a 20-minute journey. The other thing that people can go on a journey with me is the Galactic Temple, because I work a lot, as you were saying, I work a lot with the star races as well, and that galactic awareness and our multidimensional essence. It is a place for conscious leaders to come together to just take away the identity, take away the hat, and really just be present in a held and sacred space to be with what is. So we often have themes that we share around. And then there's always a guided process as well, depending on what chakra we're working on, that will then, I think people come out just feeling more aware. Pieces of the puzzle of whatever they're dealing with in that moment drop in. So there's a greater awareness, a greater inner peace, and also a greater sense that they're not alone, like a greater feeling of connection. Realizing I'm not alone on this journey of whatever I'm going through at the moment. This woman is reflecting it back to me as well. So it is a beautiful held space for that, because as I said earlier, as conscious leaders, we too need to be held. We too need to feel, somebody else has got me. There is a nurture, there is somebody who holds me in that beautiful divine feminine nurturing essence.
I absolutely agree. I'm in the temple and I can personally attest to how amazing it is. And what I love so much about it is it gets me right out of my human, the small conditioned human within me, and connects me right back into the expansive, timeless soul energy that I believe, and I know you believe, we all originate from. Very, very powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then from that place you're right. It is a reminder of we are so much more than our human self. And then we bring all of that back into our work. We bring all of that back to our clients.
All that expansive magnetic juiciness. Yay.
Yes.
Well, it looks like we're bang on the 11:30 here in Australia. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's probably a pretty natural time for us to wrap up. I'd love to hear some comments. So if would love to hear, what did you get from this conversation with Krystal today? What are you taking away? I feel if you write it into the comments, you're probably more likely to cement it into your awareness. So take a minute or two and really write in, what are your takeaways? What are you walking away from this conversation with? And Krystal, maybe if you want to go back and put the link to your 20-minute activation in the comments for people who want to follow more deeply with your work. Beautiful. Lovely to connect.
And I won't comment right now because I've got another meeting, but I will definitely be back in the group later to answer any questions that you might have, and just to connect deeper as well. Thank you so much, Tarsh. It's been a pleasure being with you all this morning.
Such a pleasure. And it's such a pleasure to kick off the Awakening Summit with you. Beautiful.
Yes. Thank
Alrighty.
you. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you later.